Hello, this is Tom Britt. West Tennessee PBS is working hard to bring you more local shows and quality PBS programs. And they need your financial help because they don't run commercials, they rely on your support. It's easy to donate. Go to their website, westtnpbs.org, and click on the Donate tab. Your donations to Channel 11 stay local and help WLJT-TV continue their mission to be as local as possible.
They're a voice for the voiceless and a lifeline for those facing abuse. Hello, I'm Don McCory, and on this edition of Tennessee is Talking, the topic is WRAP, the Women and Men's Resource and Rape Assistance Program. From crisis intervention to long-term advocacy, WRAP is there for survivors of domestic and sexual violence across our region. We'll talk about their mission, services, and how you can stand with survivors. Let the conversation begin.
We are rolling. Confirm record. Can we get a mic check? Check, check. Stand by camera 2. Take 2. Stand by announcer in 3, 2.
West Tennessee PBS presents Tennessee is Talking. Let the conversation begin.
Thanks for joining us today on Tennessee is Talking. Hello, I'm Don McCory. Today we're focusing on an organization that's been a beacon of hope, healing, and protection for survivors of domestic and sexual violence right here in West Tennessee. WRAP, the Women and Men's Resource and Rape Assistance Program, offers critical services to individuals and families in crisis, and they're working every day to create a community where violence is no longer tolerated. Joining us today is Executive Director Mamie Hutchison. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Mamie, can you tell us a little bit about WRAP's mission and its core work within our community?
Okay, WRAP, our mission is simple, it's a little long. It's to prevent intimate partner violence, stop the transmission of violence to children, youth, and young adults, and build healthy relationships from children to seniors, one relationship at a time. Now that says a lot, but our tagline is end violence, change lives, and give hope. And that's what we want to do. WRAP is a victim service organization. We're the largest by geography in the state of Tennessee. We cover 19 counties in West Tennessee, all counties between the Mississippi River and the Tennessee River, except Shelby and Fayette. Yes, for domestic violence and sexual assault. Okay. Our core services, we serve survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault and support them in many ways. The first, domestic violence, we safety plan with our participants. We call the survivors that work with our program, we call them participants because they choose to participate. Okay. We support them in many ways. We accompany them to court. We provide safe shelter when they're fleeing imminent danger. We safety plan with them. We do whatever they want us to do. One thing about domestic violence is it's about control. And that's what we don't want to do. We don't control anybody. We are as involved with the participant as they want us or not involved. So as far as domestic violence goes, we serve anywhere from 2 days to 2 years, depending on the participant, whatever they seek.
There are various ways to describe what domestic violence is. It's more than just physical, correct? Tell me or tell our viewers exactly what domestic violence really is.
Domestic violence is, there are many different forms of domestic violence, not just physical, which we usually hear about, but there's also emotional abuse. There's psychological abuse. There's even financial abuse. It's any way of controlling or coercing a person to do something that they don't want to do is abuse, and that's what we need to stop. That's what we want to stop.
Great. How long has WRAP been servicing West Tennessee?
RAP has been around for 50 years. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary in March. We started as a volunteer hotline for rape victims in 1975. And since then, we have expanded to cover the entire service area, 19 counties that I told you that we cover. And don't ask me to name them, but from just think the Mississippi to the Tennessee River, we cover that entire area with support for domestic violence and sexual assault victims.
And 50 years ago, you had, or someone had the envision that it's not just women, it's for men as well.
Well, not 50 years ago. 50 years ago, it was a rape crisis line, which was women.
Okay.
Think that time. More recently, we do serve everybody. So there are survivors that are male as well as female. Now, the majority of people that we serve are female, but we have served and continue to serve male survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault.
Okay. They're probably more quiet and don't want
Absolutely.
to bring attention to themselves.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And all of our services are confidential. No one will ever know that you work with us. We never talk about who our participants are. And if you find out someone worked with us, it's because they told you, not us.
If someone is watching right now and is going through various or any form of domestic violence, what should they do? And what resources are available to them?
The easiest way is to call our 24-hour hotline. It's manned 24/7 by a trained advocate. That number is 1-800-273-8712. And that way you get to immediately talk to one of our advocates, and we can start in that moment, safety planning or connecting you with resources in the community. If we aren't able to help you with something, we partner with all agencies. We have several community partners, and we are able to help in that way by resource linkage.
Is that person on the other line local?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Our
Sometimes
advocates,
when people call an 800 number,
No.
you never know what part of the country you're going to get.
no, our advocates are community based. So the advocate that works Madison County more than likely lives in Madison County. If you are calling from Hardeman County, that we have an advocate that lives in Hardeman County and covers that county. So we have, I have over 20 advocates. I think that's right. It's a big staff. I got almost 50 employees, but I think about 20 advocates stationed throughout our coverage area.
Can you walk us through what steps a person will go through if they contact you for the very first time?
Okay. So the first step, let me just say, we also have family justice centers, which are community-based. We have 3. And one in Jackson, Madison County Safe Hope Center, one in Brownsville, One Safe Place, and one in Lexington, the Henderson County Family Justice Center. These are one-stop shops where survivors can go in and meet with law enforcement, meet with RAP, and meet with the district attorney if they happen to be on site. So it's a one-stop shop. So your first step would be you can call that 1-800 number, 1-800-273-8712, or you can just walk into one of our family justice centers. Once you're
No appointments necessary.
No appointment necessary. Once you make contact with one of our advocates through one of those means, you will talk to them. They will get your story, what has happened, and ask, how may we help? What can we do? And it's really driven by the survivor. Whatever they want us to do or we can do, we will do.
Right. You mentioned earlier that you can even go to court with them.
We can. A lot of domestic violence survivors will want an order of protection against their abuser. We can actually help them file it, go to court with them, fill out the paperwork, do whatever is needed to assist them in the process, in the judicial process.
Okay.
But no one has to report. No one has to call the police. We do not tell people you have to leave. It is strictly up to the participant. Now, we will educate, we will safety plan, and let you decide what's best for you and your family.
If a person chooses to leave, do you have resources where you can direct them for housing for, let's say, for them and their children?
We do. Um, if well, if they decide to leave, and let me talk about one program we have. We work very closely with law enforcement in all those counties, and we have a program that's called LAP, Lethality Assessment Protocol. These officers have a card that we printed and provided. There are 11 questions that, when they're on the scene with the survivor, they ask these questions. If they answer yes to the first 3 or 2 of the last 8, that triggers an immediate call to our hotline, and we talk to the survivor on the scene. If the perpetrator has not been arrested and it's unsafe for the survivor to be there, we can offer a hotel stay for the night, if we have the funding, because we are grant funded, and that's another story. But we can offer a safe night until the next morning when the advocate comes on duty, and can go and then assess whether they would be suitable or not suitable, but we'll be able to stay in our safe home. We have 2 confidential safe homes. One is in Madison County and one is in Obion County. It is communal living, so that means not everyone, can live in communal living. So
Correct.
we
So
do
shared space.
have, right, we do have an assessment process, but we do have also a residential program. Right now, we have a grant from HUD, that we can help survivors to find permanent homes, and we help by paying deposits, security deposits. We can assist in rent up to and maybe sometimes more than 6 months. Yeah, utilities. We actually work with the survivor to start their life over. A lot of times when we get those lap calls, person is fleeing with nothing. They have nothing but clothes on their back.
Correct.
And we are able to sometimes, a lot of times, get them into permanent housing. That's a need that we have.
Right.
Segues into the community can help us with furniture, gender use furniture, household not appliances, but pots and pans. You just think about if you had to start your home all over again with nothing. And that's a lot of times what we're doing. We're helping a survivor start a whole new life.
I believe you talked about the services. That 800 number is probably staffed 24/7, correct?
It is 24/7.
But the centers, what are the hours of operation for those 3 centers?
The 3 family justice centers are 8:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. And when they're closed, then you call our hotline. We're always available. Somebody's always available.
What are the biggest challenges that a survivor will face going forward?
Well, it depends on the situation. A lot of the survivors that we see, it's just getting your life back because you've been controlled by an individual that has said you are less than. And a lot of times they feel like they have no control over what's going on in their life. So trusting is another thing that is really hard for survivors to do. But most of the time, a lot of the time, it's just to build that person back up to the person that they were before the abuse.
You've got a staff of professionally trained individuals.
Absolutely, yes.
Who can address and assess the individual needs of those. And how do you go about making sure that they have all the training tools that they need to be able to do their jobs?
We are constantly in trainings. Our biggest grant for domestic violence and sexual assault comes from the Department of Criminal Justice Programs, OCJP, and they have trainings throughout the year that we attend and go to. Our advocates are required to have at least 8 hours a year of training. Okay. And all of our advocates are degree professionals. Right. They all have at least a bachelor's degree.
In addition to providing advocacy as well as resources, you have a prevention component of your program as well. Tell
Well,
us a
and
little
we
bit.
call it awareness because of grants, we have to be very specific.
Okay.
And so we do awareness. We have 3 big awareness months. February is Teen Violence Awareness Month. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So you will see us everywhere during those months.
Throughout them. Okay.
And we go into schools when we're allowed and invited to talk to students about what a healthy relationship looks like. A lot of times, we find especially teenagers think that, oh, let's say he calls me all the time, he always wants to know where I am, he must really, really like me, and not understand that that is, controlling and can be abused. So a lot of time, a lot of what we do is to make people aware of what a healthy relationship really looks like.
Yeah, that's an extremely important thing that I don't think people are taught.
Yeah.
And we applaud you for being able to do that.
Yeah.
Tell me about how important it is for REP to be able to educate individuals on preventing domestic violence.
Okay. So like I said, I don't necessarily think we do preventions. Okay. We do
Education.
awareness, right, and we educate what it is, so that you are aware that it is domestic violence. And that's what going into schools, talking to younger people about healthy relationships, that's how we do it. That's how, when you educate someone, they don't do it. So that is, in a sense, prevention, but it's more for us awareness.
You talked about going into the schools. Do you have maybe a personal story or something that had a lasting impact on you as a professional and maybe on the organization that you could share?
About going in schools.
Well, listening to the students talk to you about what they think is liking me, which turns out to be a situation that opens their eyes to maybe there's something more to this than caring.
Well, that is one of the things when we go to even college campuses, and we talk about healthy relationships. And one of the things I know that our advocates do is they put this big poster on the wall with hearts and just say, write what is a healthy, what love is, and then let the person finish what the sentence is. And a lot of times you'll have students come up to you afterwards and say, I didn't know that wasn't love. I thought that he really liked me. I thought that, she just wanted to be with me all the time, and that was, love, because that's what you only know what you know,
Right.
and what you've seen. And we find that a lot of younger people have not seen the example of a healthy relationship, so they don't know what it is.
Well, that's where that education component comes
That's
in.
it.
What is one of the biggest misconceptions of what the public views as domestic violence and assaults?
I think the biggest misconception that I want everyone to know is when a domestic violence survivor has decided to leave, that is the most dangerous time, because the abuser is losing control. And when you hear about domestic homicides, it's usually when the person was getting ready to leave. So when people say, why doesn't she just leave? Why doesn't she just go? You have to really know that is the worst, that is the most dangerous time for that individual.
So when the person is ready to leave, is that verbalized or it's just a change in behavior?
It depends on the participant, on the individual. When they contact us, if we get, let's say we get a phone call, and she says, I've been abused, and I've been abused for 13 years, and I'm ready to leave, because this is actually one of the stories that I know, and know that I am the director, so I don't get to hear everything, but I hear a lot. But one of our participants, I remember, had been married for over 13 years, suffering with domestic violence. Regularly beaten, not allowed to have a job, no money, Just, and she said, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. So she spoke to our advocate and they safety planned. And so safety planning would involve, making sure you have all your important paperwork. Have a go bag. We call it a go bag. You have your documents, maybe some cash, a credit card, your just things that if I can pick it up and leave
Right.
and be okay. And so you safety plan with the individual, and then when it's time, they will tell you when it's time. They'll know. Then we assist them to do whatever the next step is that they want to do.
Do you often, or have there been cases of the abuser trying to track the person down through you?
We have had abusers to contact us under different pretenses.
You have safety protocol in place?
Well, first of all, we're not going to talk to anybody about anyone who's ever worked with us. So calling us, asking us, is my wife there, will get you nothing because I don't know who she is and never heard of her.
Great.
So, but we've actually had people go through the court system to try to bypass that, and no.
Well, that should be reassuring to the individual.
Yes.
Yes.
And we emphasize that we don't talk to anyone unless it's a matter of life and death. If you say you're gonna kill somebody, we have to tell the police that.
Sure.
But otherwise, no, we don't do that.
I've noticed something called RCP.
Oh.
Can you tell me about?
Okay, that's the other big program at RAP. It stands for Relative Caregiver Program. We are the provider of the Relative Caregiver Program for the Department of Children's Services for the state of Tennessee for West Tennessee. This program is a support program for relatives that are raising children that are not theirs.
Grandparents.
Aunts, uncles, siblings.
Do you have to be related?
It does. There are five things that you have to be. Well, first of all, these are relatives that are caring for these children so they don't go into custody. Okay? That's the purpose of the program. There is a stipend that is offered for the relative caregivers. If the child is from 0 to 11 years old, you can get $16.88 a day per child. And if they are 12 to 17 years old, it is $18.09 a day. So we're talking a pretty substantial amount of money for a caregiver that's raising a relative child. Now, that does come with some requirements. There has to be a court order. The court order can be from any state, not necessarily Tennessee, but you have to have court-ordered custody. There has to be a relationship of first, second, or third degree to the parent of the child. So, a grandparent, a first cousin, an aunt, a sibling,
Right.
all of that satisfies the relationship requirement. The caregiver must be 21 years old, and the parent cannot live in the home. So also the caregiver has to be willing to work with the Department of Children's Services to answer any questions they may have about the parent.
Great. Okay.
But it is a great program. Last year, our year ended June 30. We served 474 caregivers, which represented 885 children.
That's great. That's amazing.
So it is, and we've only been doing this since January of 2023.
Wow.
So it is huge. A great program. We want everybody to know about Relative Caregiver Program. It's a different phone number. That phone number for the Relative Caregiver Program is 731-203-1339.
Great.
And you leave a message. It's not answered. You leave a message, and our screener will get back with you.
Okay. Recently, you just had your big Denim and Pearls
We
banquet.
did.
That's
We
your biggest
did.
fundraiser of the year.
Yeah.
Tell me what those resources are used for going forward.
Well, Denim and Pearls is our only fundraiser a
Okay.
year. Yeah, we only have one. This year was huge. It was our 50th, and we had Prince there. Prince, I put in quotes. But it was a great concert. You were there. You had a great time.
I had a great time.
It
Yes,
was
I did.
wonderful, and that is to support all of our counties that we serve and all of our programs. We are grant funded, and at this time, right now, this atmosphere is a little shaky. We're good this year, we know, but we use those funds to supplement the grants because grants don't pay for everything. This year was the biggest one we've ever had. We were really proud. We raised more than $100,000. So, and
Congratulations.
thank you. That
Yes, yeah.
just awesome.
Before we leave, can you give us that 800 number one more time
Okay.
for that viewer who may need to call your office?
Okay. For any survivor that needs us, please call us 1-800-273-8712. And that number is always someone will answer it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay. That's all the time we have for this edition of Tennessee's Talking. A big thanks to Mamie and everyone at RAP for the critical work they do to protect and empower survivors across West Tennessee. If you want to rewatch this program or share it with a friend, remember you can stream this episode and all local Channel 11 programs anytime on the PBS app or at westtnpbs.org. Keep the conversation going by following West Tennessee PBS on social media. Until next time, keep on talking, Tennessee.
Tennessee is Talking is a presentation of West Tennessee PBS with the goal of bringing people together, sharing ideas, thoughts, and different perspectives, learning from each other, and sharing a civil and respectful discussion. Tennessee is Talking, the show that brings West Tennessee together.
What does being local mean to you? Hello, I'm Peter Knoll, the General Manager and CEO of Channel 11. For the West Tennessee PBS team, it means being as local as our funding allows. We don't sell commercials, we rely on your donations to bring you local programs and all PBS shows. Consider making a monthly donation to Channel 11 for just $12.50. For the cost of just one meal at a restaurant, you could help us be even more local. Donate today.